Welcome back. Hard to think of a club that had a busier transfer window than Arsenal. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang deal getting done for close to £56 million. So Aubameyang and Mkhitaryan in, Walcott, Sanchez, Giroud, Coquelin out. On the whole, Gab, how do we rate this window for Arsenal?
I think numbers-wise, it's very good. They're not far off netting out. I think the Giroud fee might actually, when all said and done, be a little bit higher than that. And obviously Sanchez is going to be worth zero in the summer. Now, at least he's worth a Mkhitaryan for you. What I'm not sure is Aubameyang, what the planning is. Aubameyang, Lacazette, Mkhitaryan. You look at they're all in their late 20s. You've re-signed Özil. I think those things coming together, we're going to need some answers for.
All right, so they made a couple bucks. How much better are they actually?
Look, making a couple of bucks is what Arsenal seem to do every single transfer window. I don't think that's moved the club forward, certainly not in comparison to anybody else. Now, you asked me this exact question a week ago. Seb, I would have told you I think Arsenal made out great in this transfer window. Aubameyang coming in, Mkhitaryan coming in midfield. I like that a lot. But then you go and you see the performance that they give you in midweek, and you realise a lot of the issues that have plagued Arsenal before are still there and coming back to haunt them, and you're not quite sure if Aubameyang's goals makes up for the deficiencies you see in midfield and in the back.
I think Arsenal fans would just despair now, well, the majority of them, about whether they made any money on transfers or not. It's purely down to quality they want to get in now. I quite like the Aubameyang deal, potentially exciting. Gab's talked about there are some issues there. I think if Mkhitaryan had come in directly from Dortmund, it might have opened a few more eyes to say, well, this could be exciting, but there's a little concern because of the form that he had, albeit he had a turbulent time at Man United with Mourinho, but he comes into it off the back of a poor spell from United. But all in all, when you're losing a player like Sanchez and you know you're losing, I don't think it's a bad transfer window for them. But as Shaq said, off the back of a pasting by Swansea, it's hard to paint a good picture on it.
Mesut Ozil also signs a contract extension today. When you look at that front four, how does it all fit together?
Well, see, that's good for the club in terms of they're not going to lose Ozil for nothing. They're obviously paying him a big load of money. But I think it's a sign from Ozil, in my opinion, that there are other suitors out there for him, that he was happy to sign at Arsenal, a club who, in my opinion, aren't really going anywhere in terms of challenging for the league or the Champions League and haven't been for a while.
How do these pieces fit together, Shaka?
I'm not quite sure, and I think that's what everybody's looking at Arsene Wenger and trying to figure out now. On the one hand, as much as I like the signing of Aubameyang, whether you play him, Lacazette, Mkhitaryan and Ozil up front and just ask everybody else to defend, maybe that's in what Arsene Wenger is thinking going forward. But you're struggling to find who are the leaders defensively for Arsenal. Who is the person or persons that are going to keep things together? And I'm not sure that they have that personality on the park. Whether as well that this is a team built to just play in two separate types of lines that way. Again, I'm not sure, and I'm just waiting to see.
But I think one of the positives we mentioned before. Some of I always talk about like sort of net spend and selling well. I thought they sold Walcott well, and they sold Coquelin very well. I think where it matters is you now have more resources in the summer in the summer window if you do want to strengthen the back line.
For a club that doesn't want to spend.
That's
what are more
been
resources?
The story. But that's been the story of Arsenal until now. We could all make jokes as long as Wenger's there and Kroenke's there. It's going to be like this. They brought in this guy Sven Mislintat, presumably. They didn't just say, hey, Sven, come here, be our head of recruitment, just so we can break even all the time and sell our best players. You have to have some level of faith in him that in the summer they're already planning on strengthening the areas that need strengthening.
The challenge for Arsenal, though, and which Manchester United faced, is the longer you're out of the Champions League, the tougher it is to get the types of talents that they need. Whether they have the money or not, whether they're willing to spend it or not, I'm still waiting to find out.
Let's move on to Olivier Giroud. He moves on to Chelsea. What do you make of this move? Do you not like the idea from the Arsenal standpoint of doing business with the team that you're chasing for that top four spot? Does that bug you at all?
Not particularly, no, I have to say. I think Giroud is a good get for Chelsea, bearing in mind recently they were talking about Andy Carroll. No, I don't know how much truth there was in this. Andy Carroll Peter Crouch,
Ashley Barnes.
Olivier Giroud is a big step up from that. I think something like a goal almost every 2 games for France. He potentially could lead the line for them in the summer. I'm not his biggest fan, but could he do a job for Chelsea with the Hazards and the Pedros and the Willians around about him if Morata's not performing? I think he can.
That's the thing. Is this move more about replacing Batshuayi or is it about pushing Morata?
I think it's more about replacing Batshuayi right now. And I think pound for pound, as an out-and-out striker, I don't think Olivier Giroud is better or pushes Morata.
Even when he's not scoring?
Even when he's not scoring. Saying that, I will say, I feel Giroud is best as part of a front two. And maybe that comes into Conte's thinking in bringing him in. Maybe that's where he finds some success that he didn't find at Arsenal. But in terms of pushing Morata to make Morata better, I don't think Giroud's the answer.
Well, Giroud can't push Morata?
Well, I don't know. I mean, Morata's a much better player, but Morata has to actually be fit and not have his bad back and not be suspended and
score goals.
We've seen the whole reason we're in the situation is that Morata isn't always available. When he's not there, we have got Hazard playing at centre forward or Pedro at centre forward. These aren't good solutions. With Giroud, you've got somebody you can bring off the bench who can mix it. I think he can play with Morata in certain situations. Morata's played with a big man before. Gives you options. The other good thing from Chelsea's perspective that they were very, very keen on, which is why the Dzeko deal didn't happen, is in 18 months, he's gone. He's off your books. People make a big deal of the fact that he's 32, but they did not want to commit to a long-term, expensive long-term contract when they know maybe Chelsea's next manager might not want Olivier Giroud around. And in that sense, I thought they were quite successful in getting him.
Let's be honest, if Giroud is pushing Morata, he'll fall over. Couldn't resist it because that's all he's got to do. I mean, if Giroud can stay on his feet, right, and put himself around and be physical, straight away he can be better than Alvaro Morata at the moment, right? Because Alvaro Morata is a very good player, but we're not seeing it. Right, we're not seeing it, and I think Giroud could push him, could be an option, because clearly Batshuayi was not in the manager's plan and he wanted something different. And as Gab said, this makes sense, albeit it's about 18 million or something, potentially for 18 months. But that's the way it's going these days. Clubs don't mind spending that.
I think the issue with Morata right now is just a lack of confidence. And as a result, going over is the easy option because he doesn't want to take the shot because he's been so poor in front of goal of late.
That's even more reason to sort of puff your chest out and be physical and put yourself around.
He's taking the easy way out. He's going down, let somebody else take the pass. He's taking the easy way out.
He was at Real Madrid and he was at Juventus and he wasn't always the #1 starter. Sometimes he was, but he wasn't the guy that those clubs relied on a regular basis. He's gone to London, they're in the Premier League, they're under pressure. Conte and Chelsea are now relying on Morata week in, week out. And I think he's feeling the pressure of that, and it's time for him to stand up.
If Morata struggles, could you see Giroud starting in Champions League?
Yes, absolutely.
Really?
Absolutely. Has the experience and the know-how. I think he could do a job.
All right, let's take a look at some of the biggest moves throughout the transfer window. There you see them. Busy window, lots of money spent. The headliner, Philippe Coutinho to Barcelona from Liverpool.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN+.